Hey, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Pamela Peterson, enrolled agent, licensed by the Department of Treasury, and also principal member of Accounting Freedom. And I'm here today with my partner, Michael Sullivan, who together we are helping you get tax relief if you owe the IRS. And we have had, so like I said, Michael is a former IRS agent. So he's got years of stories and interesting, crazy things that have happened. And we actually got some feedback that, those some of his stories are pretty popular. So we thought we would do an episode just hearing some cool or crazy or weird former IRS audit experience stories. So thanks, Mike, for so much for bringing those to us.
This is my second one about a funeral home. My first one's a classic when we lost the body. This one was not too far away. Actually, it was in the same zip code. It was in zip code 33060 in Pompano Beach, Florida. And just happened to be two different funeral homes. And the one funeral home was nice. It was owned by a commissioner in Pompano Beach, and this one was in Pompano Beach. Not so much a commissioner, but it was, let's just say, where maybe poorer people were to go ahead and have their loved ones depart from there. And I drove by and I knew we were going to have to make seizures. So we always scout around just to make sure what's a good time to come, what's not a good time. Are there a lot of cars? Maybe even call and say ahead of time, hey, when's your next funeral? You don't want to certainly go and make a seizure or go into this when there's a service going on. That wouldn't look good, right? That wouldn't look good at all. They're playing Amazing Grace and two agents walk in. That's
IRS jackets.
yeah, John. Yeah, it's it's kind of funny, but it's bad press.
Yeah.
So we figured that we figured the morning time was good early in the morning. Because usually people may not have that service right. We didn't notice a lot of cars, so we always have to go out by 2. So I was with the Spanish guy. His name was George Hernandez. George passed, one of my dear friends. Spanish people, by the way, hate. Matter of fact, I had to accompany because Spanish people hate being around dead bodies. So he asked me. Now, it's not that it's a favorite of mine. Please don't think that.
Sure.
I just happen to be a person since I seized another one and that went south. He figured, well, this one had to be a little better. So there was no one there, but we noticed something strange. There was a lot. There was a 7-Eleven, an empty lot, and then his funeral home. And what's really weird is we found some extension cords from the side of the 7-Eleven, the bright orange ones. We noticed them going over to his funeral home. And they seem to be kind of covered up, a couple boxes and this and that. And we're thinking, gee, that's odd. So we go in the front door, nobody's there. There's this music playing, that really old-fashioned kind of Southern music, more Afro-American type music and all the hymns and but it was very musty. The place was really musty. And there was nobody there, but just heard this music. And George and I says, we got to go in there. And I'd been in there before, and the guy was just as nice as could be. But there was just a light on in the parlor, a light on in the back room. But the place smelled a little. Didn't know if it was embalming fluid or what
Oh,
was it. I don't know
terrible.
what, I don't even know what it was. So anyway, I remember going into the main room and we're yelling out to the guy, Mr. So and so, Mr. So and so, are you okay? And there was another light on in another parlor, so we have the front parlor light and a back parlor light on, and then there was this room off to the side where the coffins would be. You could take a look at them, and I will never forget going in that room. The curtains were musty, but I remember that the curtains you could only see because a ray of light was coming in through the top of the curtain, and it would just kind of beam up what it could. And all you would see is about 12 coffins just right there, right there. And I tell you what, it wasn't, it was like a Friday the 13th. I
Yeah.
mean, I was had 1 foot in, 1 foot out. George scared to death of dead bodies. I remember he says, "What do you think? You think we should go in?" I says, "Your seizure." I says, "You're the one that wants to close the place down, not me. I just come from the 7-Eleven. I was sucking down a Slurpee at that time, but we had to go in." So sure enough, we go into that room, and all of a sudden, we're yelling this guy's name. And honest to God, as much as I'm sitting in my living room, the lid of a coffin opens up. And all of a sudden, someone pops out of the coffin,
Oh,
pops out of the coffin. George and myself got so scared together, so petrified, so terrified. To this moment, I still know what I was feeling holding that Slurpee. I dropped it. I remember the exact feeling I had. Both of us ran out of that door so fast that I snagged my pocket, that door latch that, when
yeah.
you catch that door, it ripped my pants absolutely straight down. And we just absolutely bolt right up. Half my pants on my left side are just shot. I pull the door right off the hinge. I pull that metal right off. The furring strip on the outside comes out, and George and I were actually stuck in there. It seemed like we were stuck in there for 6 years, but obviously, it was just like that. And I'm standing outside. My pants are torn. George and I are turned around, scared to death, scared the bejeebies out of us. We didn't know what happened. Well, sure enough, we come back in. I didn't even want to go in. You can see my underwear because my pants are split so bad. I had a cheap, coat. I had those button clip-on
Oh,
clip
yeah.
eyes. It was blue. I'll never forget that. We come back in and found out that the guy had his electric shut off, and the only way he could have the lights on is if he ran his electrical cords to the 7-Eleven. So he put stuff on the electric cords. So 7-Eleven didn't know that he was stealing their electric. And it was so dark where he slept that he found it more comfortable to sleep in the coffin. And what we didn't know
Oh,
is the bottom part of the coffin was open, but it was so dark in there, we couldn't tell it was open. So when we came in, it was easier for him just to lift the lid open on that coffin. So, yeah, so that was my second funeral home story. I tried to put, you have a 10-12 voucher where you can put all your expenses down. So I went ahead and I put my pants down on there because I try to get
right.
reimbursed for. My manager looked at those and they said, "What are you putting these pants down?" Well, I told him the story. He says, "If you were so stupid to go in a funeral home with no electric, you deserve to pay for your own pants." We were kidding about it. He says, "Don't put it on." He gave me $25 I was brand new at IRS. He paid me $25 for a new pair of Hager Expandomatic pants. And we called it a day. But I'll tell you, we have seen so many things at IRS that I had the best time at IRS. But some of the memories that I have are always to this day. I still remember two people getting stuck in the same door trying to get out of a funeral. So
And your pants
anyway,
pulling off at the
and my
same time.
pants slit right down the side, buddy. I'm standing outside. My left side is open, just like and here I am, former IRS agent at the time, with my pants split open.
In your
So
underwear and
somebody probably thought Freddy Krueger was in there or something. So
that is
anyway,
so weird.
that's my story this session,
I
and I'm sticking to it.
I can't believe somebody would really sleep in there. That's like just
Well,
going
when you
beyond.
think, but have you ever seen the inside of a coffin? How comfortable it is? How pillow it is? It's cushiony, right? Is it
But I
not?
mean, it's still, it's like sleeping in a sleeping bag.
Hey, I guess you have to do what you have to do. I don't know. I will never know what it's like alive to sleep inside a coffin or to rest in one. I'm just taking for granted that he thought at that very moment it was comfort. I don't want to know about it. I don't care about it. But anyway, let's see, how long did that happen? Listen to this. That happened in 1975,
Oh my goodness.
and I'm still living to talk about it. Yes.
That's amazing. Do you have any other ones you want to share this time?
No, I'll have to think about
Okay.
I'll have to think. I have so many. You want to frame them, in a really good light. I have one with, I'll tell you next time about Jimmy Hoffa's stepson.
Okay.
Anyone knows who Jimmy Hoffa was? He was a gangster. They never know where Jimmy's buried, and I represented his son, and I will tell that story. It makes people come back to see you, Pam.
Okay.
So
Yeah. These are,
that's
I
the
love the
whole
stories.
story.
I really do. So,
So
but
okay.
I also hope at the same time we're sharing knowledge that can help the viewers, get out from under tax debt, whether it's
Yeah,
for
I I
small.
I I do want to share something about using a professional, and people always pick up the phone. They say, "What can you do for me?" Well, I tell them this. Between you and myself, we have been in the business some 65 years. You know, and I tell people this all the time. Do you want to get in a plane by yourself and think you can fly, or do you want to get with two pilots who've been in the business for 65 years? Who has a better chance of taking off the plane and landing the plane? There
Yeah.
is no way I would get in the plane with anyone unless they had that type of experience. And at the
Absolutely.
end of
Well,
the
it's
day,
very similar to representing yourself in court. You say,
yes,
"Oh, court, I'm just going to give my argument." But
yes.
there's so many intricacies behind it. So,
Yeah, I
very
think
similar.
Abraham Lincoln said only a fool represents themselves. And that's
Yeah.
really, really, and the thing about IRS, they hold all the power. With a piece of paper, they can take your paycheck, they can take your wages, they can go ahead, seize your house if they want. They don't do that as much, but they can. At the end of the day, they control. So
Yeah.
if you owe IRS and you turn that over to them, you never know what agent. There's a lot of nice agents, and there's just as many not as nice. But we have good results because we treat them with respect, and we don't become adversaries, as you know, Pam. We try to help negotiate the debt on a friendly basis, and since we know what they're doing and what their manual and what their playbook is, we get really good results because we know what's going to happen when we pick up the phone, and usually nobody else does.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Mike, for another awesome, exciting story at the IRS. And thank you guys for watching. If you do have any questions that you might have about your own personal tax debt, whether it's small or large, pop it in the comments section and we'll try to address it in a video. Thanks so much for watching.